This is Francis from Easel. Welcome back to the second part of our Easel Carve Design tutorial. In this part, we'll be discussing what it looks like when you select an object in Easel, how to change the size of an object in Easel, how to rotate an object in Easel, and then how to combine two objects together in Easel to create a different object or shape. So the first thing we're going to do is look at what it looks like to select an object. Currently, the triangle that we added in the last video is not selected. To select it, I simply need to click on it, and we'll know it's selected by the bounding box that appears around it. The bounding box will have 4 gray squares in the corner, 4 gray squares in between each of the lines that connect the corner, and then a gray square connected to a line sitting above the object. We can use these gray squares to resize the design, to resize it proportionally. Click in any of the corners, hold the click down and drag, and that will resize it proportionally. To resize one dimension but leave the other intact, you can click on the middle squares that are connected to the by the line to the corners and drag. That will resize one dimension but leave the other one intact. We'll bring it down a bit and back to where it was. You can also resize it by clicking into the Shape and Cut menu. When an object is not selected, you will not see the Shape and Cut menu. But once the object is selected, this Shape and Cut menu will appear. The Shape allows us to adjust the width, height, and rotation of the object. The Cut menu, which we'll discuss in the next video, allows us to adjust the depth of cut as well as the cut path for the object that we have selected. Moving back to the Shape menu, if we want to adjust the width of the object, simply click in, remove the current width, type in a different dimension, and it will adjust the width, leaving the height the same. We can do the same for the height, and it will leave the width the same. If we want to type in a dimension and have the other dimension adjust proportionally, you can click behind the width and the height box. There's this little button here. When it's highlighted blue, any dimension that you change will change proportionally with the other dimension. So now we're back to 2 inches by 2 inches. To rotate an object, when it's selected, there are 3 different options for rotation. The first is clicking this gray box that sits above the object, holding the click, and rotating. This will rotate the angle, and you can see in the window below the size, in the rotation window, when you rotate the object, you can see the degree at which you're rotating it. Similarly, you can type into the rotation box the degree that you'd like it to be rotated to. In this case, I've rotated it to 90. You can type in any specific dimension, and it will adjust it to that degree. The third method of adjusting the rotation is right here. You can click on this and it will rotate the object 90 degrees at a time. Either of those is viable. It just really depends on personal preference. So now we're going to talk about how to combine shapes. Part of combining shapes is I'm going to combine both of these triangles to make a diamond shape. To do that, I'm going to need 2 triangles that are the same size. So I'm going to click on my triangle that I already have, move to the top of the screen. Here there is a button that says Edit. If you click on that, you'll get a drop-down menu. One of the options will be Copy. If I click on that, I've copied my currently selected object. I can then click on Edit again to paste the object. And now I have 2 of those objects. To create the diamond shape, I'm then going to rotate my triangle twice. So now it's upside down. I can then click, hold the click, and drag to move my triangle around so that it gets pretty close to where I want it to be. But if you can see, and I'll zoom in here to make it a little bit easier to see, there's still a tiny space where it's not quite lined up. And you can see that reflected in our 3D preview as well. So I'll select my bottom triangle, and then using the arrow keys, I can incrementally move my design to to adjust its kind of placement. So you can do that to the left and right and up and down. I think that looks pretty good. So now I have a diamond shape, but if I were to click on my triangle and adjust it, it's not connected. So now we're going to connect them and combine them. To do that, I need to select both of the objects I have on screen. To do that, I can click on Edit, and you'll see that since I do not have an object selected, that menu is a lot different and a lot smaller. So the first thing I'll do is click on Edit and Select All. That will select both of the objects that I have. If you have more than 2 objects, if you have any object that you have on screen, if you click on Edit and Select All, it will select everything. In this case, I just have the 2 objects, so it selected those. I can then click on Edit again and Combine. This will combine the objects and make them a single object. This means that if I change things like the cut depth or the cut path, it will be treated like it's one diamond shape instead of 2 triangular shapes. Thank you for watching this video. Please feel free to look at videos that detail these processes more in depth. They'll be in the link in the bio. And then tune in for the next video.
To learn more, head over to Easel.com.